Okay, let's start from the demonstration of contributions, and Alex, I think you can be the first one.
Yeah, just 1 second, I will share my screen. Let's start. Now I think you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So let me introduce maybe the first one and the biggest contribution made the previous week. I think it is a great example of communication between contributors and Magento engineers, and I'm proud to present you the keyword save functionality. So the killing feature of this implementation is that we implement the latest technical approach and the modern way in Magento in saving and manipulating data resources. So just we, for keywords, which is not just some independent part of the asset object, but it just depends on asset, yes, we create next. We have a key word model, which is pretty simple, yes, but and also we have asset keywords repository, which consists of two methods: save asset keywords and get asset keywords. So for particular asset, we save and get keywords on the save action gate. And here the main feature. So we have a keyword resource model. We just knows only about the keyword, the object, and the resource connection. So here we do not rely on abstract resource model, and we do not use inheritance. We just used the resource connection and implement our own custom save method. This approach allows us to be to have implementation on a high technical level and reproduce the latest, the modern and the best tendency in the Magento development. So we create a custom save method, load method, and insert and multiply insert. This allows us to have a great performance and data consistency. So, and yep, maybe technically that's all. And from my point of view, this is a good example of how we will implement other parts for asset category, creator, and other required asset parts. So, but yep, maybe about this part, that's all. Sergey, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I would like to say that the approach when we didn't use the traditional Magento resource model is currently a preferable approach to avoid the inheritance and to avoid using code of resource models that is not required for the operations that we need to do. So we'll try to, in scope of Adobe Stock Integration project, we'll try to apply that approach as much as possible. As far as I know, the only problems that I see with applying custom resource models that are not extending Magento resource models is parsing the search criteria for resource models that are loading collections, like loading lists of results. Currently in Magento, we have a handy process collection processor that is working with search criteria and preparing collection for select very nicely. But there are already several approaches to resolve to use alternative way to work with search criteria in Magento that we'll try to apply on Adobe Stock Integration project as well. So yeah, thanks, Alex. That was a really nice and modern in Magento world implementation of approach to saving keywords and loading keywords.
And also just we have another one good thing which we merged, just permanent error message for test connection. So for example, just let's say that we have a correct API key. It's our settings, yes, and nothing happened. But for example, accidentally we save something incorrect for API key, and we see the error message at connection test failed. So this means that the admin user will have up-to-date information about something that may be saved in the API key. This also makes this module user-friendly.
Okay, so if API key is valid, we'll not see any message, right?
Right. Only if it's invalid.
Sounds like exactly what we needed. Thanks.
So, yep, that's all from me.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Raul, would you like to show us something today?
Yeah, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Not do the same mistake like last week. You guys confirm you can see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Well, this week I've been working on this task. This task is to currently we convert assets, which is an object we have in Adobe Stock, and we convert to document, and then from document to an array. And this task is to simplify that and just use asset and get the information from that. Also, the object we using here currently inherits from component in Magento. So I start removing the inheritance from there, and the last bit I need to finish implementing is that simplification I previously described, which is just use the asset object, get the information from there, and then use it to provide the data for the grid. Well, as you can see, the file is here, but I just need to add some changes I discussed previously with Sergey. I expect to finish that today. That's basically all from my side. I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Raul.
Okay.
Let's probably also discuss the details of implementation after the meeting.
All right.
Yeah, that's nice. We will be able to remove extra conversion and speed up the process of retrieving assets even faster.
Cool.
Good. Thanks a lot. Finally, I would like to provide several updates. So let me share my screen. So there are several big changes in the implementation of Adobe Stock Integration. Well, basically, we extracted 3 new modules, and those are Adobe IMS, Adobe IMS API, and Adobe Stock Admin UI. Basically, the Adobe IMS module is containing the functionality to log in the user to Adobe integration, and it also includes user profiles. So user data, user profiles, corresponding resource modules, and the database table that was renamed from Adobe Stock User Profile to just Adobe User Profile, but contains the same fields, is moved to Adobe IMS module. In the Adobe IMS API, we have API for working with user data and the get token service that can be used to retrieve a token. We also have the JavaScript action for authorization here. So all the functionality related to authorization, Adobe Sign-in that we will work on, and there is this task is already in progress. I've seen it, and all other authorization related code should be located in the Adobe IMS module. So Adobe Stock Admin UI module was extracted from Adobe Stock Asset to just to separate the user interface from the implementation of Adobe Stock Asset business logic. So this module currently contains only system configuration and system configuration related infrastructure like test connection button. Implementation is here. The comment, the dynamic comment that shows the suggestion which redirect URL and redirect URL pattern to use for creating integration, and all the related functionality. So anytime we'll need to update the UI that is not related to image, that can be used for potentially can be used for any Adobe Stock Asset or just Adobe Stock Integration, not particularly related to image, should be located in Adobe Stock Admin UI. Well, we still have Adobe Stock Image Admin UI that contains the user interface related to specifically image assets. We store it in Adobe Stock Image Admin UI as it was before. Additionally, there is a pull request that is going to be merged soon. We are moving masonry grid to Adobe UI module. So the masonry grid component and overlay functionality will be moved to Adobe UI module. That is a temporary module in our repository, and this module is going to be merged. So the contents of this module is going to be merged to Magento Core, to Magento UI module. So Magento UI will be able to render images grid. We are not moving all the grid functionality that we currently have to Magento Core. Basically, we are going to deliver only the images grid and the preview that will show just an image without any attributes, without any buttons, but with navigation, next, previous, and close image. And so basically this UI component will be available for use from Magento Core and for any other extensions or customizations. Finally, currently we are thinking about, so the reason why we moved the authentication functionality to separate modules is that we are thinking about separating these modules into a separate package from Adobe Stock implementation to use it for potentially for other integrations as well. And that's why this module should not depend on any functionality in Adobe Stock modules. that's update about new modules. And as you already have seen, there are some updates on the preview. So we added the rendering of some useful attributes on the image preview. That was done in scope of last week as well. And finally, there is one more update, one more change I would like to mention that was done this week. Update of stock API lib PHP dependency. So we were using DevMaster, now we switched to version 1.10. Thanks to Adobe Stock team for making it possible.
That's the least I could do.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, finally, I would like to say that we are finishing the grooming for Milestone 2. So you might have noticed that we have a lot of new stories in the backlog, and I have started creating new tasks to cover functionality. So the tasks can be found in the backlog project in our repository. And there were a couple of tasks ready for development just 30 minutes ago. They just went in progress. I will keep populating those two columns as we have a lot of tasks to do in the second milestone, and most of them are not blocked as we really developed a lot of basic functionality in the first milestone and now can work in parallel. So just to remind you, make sure to, if you would like to take a task to implement it, make sure to take it from either good first issue or ready for development column, because tasks in ready for grooming column can be still under discussion. Anyway, if you would like to take the task from ready for grooming column, just contact me, and I will give an update on this task. Is it ready, or is it still requires some discussions and updates? Yeah, if you'd like to review the roadmap, the stories that we are going to implement in the second milestone, there are on the roadmap page on our wiki, and Olena is adding the links to the stories to this page. All the functionality is listed here, and those links are basically the links to the backlog, the stories that are available through the issues tab of GitHub. I guess that's it. Are there any questions?
Well, maybe just from my side, one small. This question, maybe proposition based on my own experience during the work on the Adobe Stock integration for Magento, yes, and I want to propose one thing. Maybe it will be useful for complex issue or maybe epic issue. For example, when the issue is a complex and requires some architecture parts, maybe some decision on how to implement this in a complex issue, which can affect other functionality and process and models, parts, and so on and so on. So complex issue in general, yes. Maybe we should mark it like a complex. For example, technique architecture discussion needed. I want maybe to have this because this can boost the performance of contribution and increase the quality of the delivered issue. Because you see that sometimes when you contribute. Yes, you can have a long-term discussion, maybe some big changes which can be discussed before, and this may be for the whole project. To have a technical meeting maybe, or architectural review when we make a decision about some new parts or maybe complex things.
Okay, so is your proposition to add a label to an issue if the issue is complex, and then gather such issues and have a meeting with the contributors involving architect to discuss the list of these issues? Is that correct?
Yes, completely. Yes, you are right.
Yeah, I think that can be useful. So if there are any issues that are lacking details or they require some basic technical design for implementation, just discussions. I'm not sure actually which label can we use, but let's start just from sending such links to these tickets in Slack to me. I will probably add the label later, and we'll update it in the Slack. And then I will think about organizing such meeting, not just discussing it as part of public meeting if we won't have a lot of such issues. Does it sound okay? Like, will it resolve the problem?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, one last thing. Actually, let me share my screen again. I forgot to show one more update that we have on the project, and this is update of the design mockups. So in the wiki, under visual design, we have a link to our UI prototype, and it was recently updated by Eugen. So when you open the UI prototype, you see the nice navigation links that will make it easier to find the mockup you need. For example, if you are working on sign-in functionality, you can use the link to open the appropriate mockup, and you see the sign-in link here, and navigate through it further. So I encourage you to review the mockups again, as there are some updates. There are new mockups added for new functionalities that we are going to do in second milestone. Some still in progress and will be some are updated, like, for example, style of the preview with the specific details of implementation. Yep. That's it. Thank you guys for participating. Thank you for contributing. I was really happy to see you at this meeting. And talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.